Welcome to the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft, filling in for Joy Taylor. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific on FS1. This is what this podcast is all about. It's an unscripted, unfiltered, and undisputed version of this day's show. Here's what we got today. Shannon claims if Tony Romo never could take the Cowboys to a Super Bowl, what makes other GMs think he can lead their team to the promised land? March Madness is officially here as sports fans everywhere today are filling out their brackets. Skip and Shannon tell you who they have in their Final Four, and I tell you why I'm predicting back-to-back titles for Jay Wright and Villanova. The guys debate the news that Floyd Money Mayweather has come out of retirement to fight Conor McGregor in June. Surprise, surprise, Skip and Shannon take different sides. Plus, Patriots keep getting better. NFL analyst Greg Jennings stops by, makes a big-time Super Bowl prediction for next year. And finally, Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard checks in to break down what yet another loss for LeBron and the Cavs means in the big picture of the NBA. Skip and Shannon, let's debate. And how about the Cavs? They lost last night for the fourth time in their last 5 games. Chris Broussard is with us. So I think we should start with you.
Yeah.
Chris, what is wrong, if you think something's wrong, with the Cavs?
Well, they've gone soft. They've gone soft. Now, it's fixable, but they have become this three-point shooting team. They've fallen in love with the three-pointer. Yesterday, more than half their shots were threes. 43 out of 80 field goals attempts
How many
were
did King
threes.
take?
He took 11. Kyrie took 10. It's not just the king, but he's the leader. And they've fallen in love with the three-point shot. Three-point shooters, like when you're really a three-point shooter or a three-point shooting team, you tend to be soft. Right. That's why Golden State needed Bogut, because he was a tough guy. He didn't shoot threes. He was inside. So because of, I think they fall in love with the three, I think it's spilled over into their defense, where they're now 22nd in the league in defensive efficiency. They're not guarding anybody. No team has won the championship in several years without being, in the top 10? Top in defensive efficiency.
Yeah.
And then secondly, it's spilling over into their rebounding. Because yesterday, they didn't hustle for the ball, for loose balls.
Everybody was just standing around.
Yeah, and they got destroyed on the offense or defensive glass for Houston. And those are indicative of soft play to me. Now, they're very fortunate that they're in the East, because they have such a margin for error that they can work through these kinks and get back to being who they are throughout the Eastern Conference playoffs and get to the finals and be clicking by the time the finals come. I still got them in the East, although maybe they'll have a few struggles I didn't see coming in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Well, I think the thing is now, they're a small team. They were small to begin with. It's not like they were a big team. And now with Kevin Love, who's a double-digit rebounding guy, you don't get his 10 a night. So now you're asking Braun, because the previous 7 games, Braun was averaging double-digit rebounds. Last night, he only got 7. Trevor Ariza had 7 rebounds. James Harden had 10. Clint Capella out-rebounded Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson, his main goal is not to score points. It is to rebound and to protect the rim. And he got beaten bad by Drummond, and then last night by Capella. So you can't have that. Last year, they gave up the 3rd fewest offensive rebounds in the league. No, they gave up the 5th fewest offensive rebounds in the league. Now they're adding they're averaging the 3rd most giving up. Even they shot a high percentage from the floor, from three-point and the free throw line. But the Rockets had 16 more field goal attempts. 20-4.
From the glass.
20-4.
Yep.
You saw Eric Gordon put up a shot at 6'3" and get his own rebound. Patrick Beverly was hustling. Rebounding is a lot about hustle and desire. And last night, the hustle and desire was not there. But I'm not, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at a 1.5. Chris and Skip, you told me to sign Chris Broussard. I was on the phone earlier with K Jewelers. They got that 15.5 coming, like Beyonce said.
They signed Chris Broussard?
No, they signed Larry Sanders. I talked to Chris
I wish
Broussard
they would have. You know what? They need Chris Broussard, because they need another backup point.
Put a ring on it,
right?
Skip. Come, Julie.
So you down? You still down on Darren?
Put a ring on it, Skip.
They got
so let's
time
get this
because
straight.
They're fortunate they're in the East.
The greatest player on the planet is still on the Cavaliers.
Yep.
Correct? Thank you.
Yeah.
So last night they got rebounded on the offensive glass 20-4. It was the biggest differential on the offensive boards of any NBA game the whole season.
Yep.
Why did that happen? Because LeBron James managed to play 38 minutes, inexplicably to me, the previous night in Orlando. And Chris Broussard has been very objective today. I wish he could explain this to me, because after 3 quarters in Orlando against a team that is 24-43, second worst in the East, LeBron through 3 quarters, Cavs are up 8. He's got 12 points, 4 rebounds, but 10 assists. Aha, maybe there's a triple-double to be had. So LeBron plays 10.5 minutes of the fourth quarter, knowing full well he's got to go to James Harden the next night. What are you doing, greatest player on the planet? Because you
Playing
can't
basketball.
do it.
Yeah,
Playing basketball.
I don't think he's fatigued. I mean,
Okay, but look at the numbers he put up in the fourth quarter against the Orlando Magic. He goes 12 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists for a grand total 24 points, 12 rebounds, and 13 assists. He got his triple-double. And they hung on to win by 12 points. They're up 8 after 3, and they win by 12. Why are you playing 10.5 minutes when you've been complaining about playing too many minutes? Am I right about that? And
has
now
he
you got to
complained about his minutes?
Yes, and then you got to go to Houston the next night to play? Well, sure. So in the fourth quarter last night, I thought LeBron was running out of focus or gas or whatever you want to call it, because he had 3 more turnovers to go with his previous 5 for 8 turnovers. It's too many. You're going to lose the game in the fourth quarter to James Harden at Houston. So if you can explain why he went 38 minutes at Orlando and then 40 last night, you're way ahead of me.
He wants to play. And I look, we're talking so much about players' minutes now. Not just LeBron. Golden State. Nobody on that team averages 34.5 minutes a game, but we're talking about how fatigued they are. Michael Jordan played 37 minutes for 82 games when he was 40 years old. LeBron, 38 minutes. Look, Kobe, later in his career, at an older age, averaged the same minutes LeBron's averaging for 2 seasons. So I don't think I think we're just talking about minutes far too much with these guys. Now, I've wondered, is LeBron, when he got the triple-double against Orlando, that was his 4th in 7 games. Do you think he's sending a message?
Yes. Yes.
Hey, y'all raving about the triple-double.
I can get him anytime I want to.
Okay, well, go get him.
I'm not saying
last
that's
night,
a bad thing,
he needed to get 12 rebounds. If he'd gotten 12 rebounds last night, they might have hung in this game.
Don't worry about
LeBron
it.
could rebound more. Now that Love's out, I would like to see, and obviously he was doing
Don't worry about it.
in other games.
Come middle of June, we'll have a triple-double in Game 7 on the Spurs, and we'll get another ring.
Oh, really? You got the Spurs in the final?
And
I like
it doesn't
that.
matter. I got the king in the ring.
The king in the ring. All right, there you
Yeah, they
go.
will be fine.
They'll be fine. And on that
At
note,
least in the East.
Are you going with me Saturday night to see the
thank
king
you for
and the
joining
Clippers?
us, Chris.
Yeah, I'll be right there with you.
You hater.
I don't want you to be lonely on Saturday night.
Thanks for listening, guys. Before we get to the next topic, here's Shannon with a message from ZipRecruiter.
Thanks, Joy. Hiring can be a real pain, and it can be difficult to know where to post your job and to find the best candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites, and now you can with ZipRecruiter.com. You can post your positions to over 200 job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. It's that easy. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll into ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Nobody has time for that. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire them fast and in person. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by the most powerful companies and thousands of small and medium-sized businesses. Right now, listeners of our podcast can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/undisputed. That's ZipRecruiter.com/undisputed.
Thanks. One more time, our listeners can try it for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/undisputed. Now back to the show.
No mercy.
Well, the NCAA tournament bracket was unveiled last night. Vegas has Duke as the favorite to win it all. North Carolina is in second. Kentucky, Kansas, last year's champion Villanova are tied for third. Gosh, I love this time of year, right?
Dude, wow.
It's exciting.
Wow.
It's just there's an energy to
We
it.
might have to get your picks. in a second.
Maybe coming up. But
Okay.
Skip, I'd like to
Yes,
hear
Jenny?
your top.
Would you really?
let's hear
I
it.
don't know if Shannon wants to hear him, but here
I
we
know I'm gonna beat
go.
you.
Huh?
I know I'm going to beat you.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know what I always
We
say
don't
about
even know yet.
these brackets? the more you know, the worse you usually do. That's what happens. Trust me.
Well, you should.
I am a veteran of these brackets.
You should enter that Warren Buffett sweepstakes to get $1 billion because you don't know nothing, so you could be perfect on this bracket.
You got it. I'm going to start in the East, and I'm going to start with Duke over Nova to get to the Final Four. Obviously, the defending champ Nova.
Okay.
Duke has gone from the preseason favorite to losing 3 out of 4 twice during the regular season, including closing the regular season, losing 3 out of 4. And then you know what happened. They caught fire in the ACC tournament. They win 4 in a row. They obviously beat Louisville. They beat Carolina again, and then they beat Notre Dame. And here they come because Jason Tatum, every time I turn on my TV, he gets better and better.
Yes,
he is becoming a man right before your very eyes. And they got the 2 guards in Grayson Allen, who's been in and out all year. But you know what? He can play. And he's been around. And all of a sudden, they got firepower and experience.
He's been a lot better coming off the bench.
I think so, too. I liked him the other night. Let's go to the West. I got Arizona, which beat UCLA, obviously 2 of their 3 times, over Notre Dame. And I've got Arizona a little bit by default, but I've got them because I believe Notre Dame will knock out Gonzaga, which I believe is way overrated. I don't know what you think of the Zags, but I don't think they deserve the top line. I don't believe they deserve the number 1 seed.
I've seen their movie before.
Well, you have, but every year's different. But they did beat Arizona without 2 starters.
Right.
They did beat Iowa State, but there's no way Iowa State's going to win the Big 12 tournament if Josh Jackson for Kansas wasn't suspended for that one game they lost to TCU. And then they beat Florida, which was 0-3 against my Vanderbilt Commodores. So I'm not all that impressed with that. Let's go to the Midwest. Speaking of Kansas, I got Kansas over my one Cinderella. I got Oklahoma State getting all the way to the Elite 8. So Kansas in a Big 12 matchup over Oklahoma State because Josh Jackson, to me, has a chance to be the best player in this tournament. We'll see how he rounds into form. And Frank Mason III, he's Mateen Cleaves to me. Remember Mateen? The guy who's been there for 4 years, who just is about as senior as you can get. And he's averaging 21, 4, and 5 and making 49% of his three-point shots. So I really like them. But now let's go to the South. The game of the tournament to me, unfortunately, is going to be in the Sweet 16 in Memphis. You know what I'm talking about?
Kentucky, UCLA?
Kentucky, UCLA. You want to talk about barn burner early on? I wish they could play later on because this very well could be the national championship game. It could be. And you know what happened at Rupp? I just happened to one Saturday start watching. I couldn't quit watching it. UCLA went to Rupp and beat them. Now, it's been a while back. It was December 3rd, 97-92. That's a high score for a college basketball game. And Lonzo Ball has a chance to take over this tournament and back up his father's words. And he just might because I believe that UCLA will beat Kentucky a second time on a neutral court. I just think they have too much firepower, even though Kentucky just gets better by the dribble. And I watched them over the weekend, and they look tough, man. But again, can they get by UCLA? I'm going to say not. So my 4 are Duke, Arizona, Kansas, UCLA.
Well, I think I'm gonna start with the bracket that you just left off, the South. I think this is the toughest. This is the toughest region because you got Carolina at the top, and you got Kentucky and UCLA at the bottom. I mean, you got 3 teams that at some point during the season they were in the top 5, and so I agree with you. And the thing is that we're going to see a Kentucky-UCLA matchup in a Sweet 16. That seems more like a Elite 8 or a Final Four matchup as opposed to a Sweet 16. So one of those guys lose. I think I'm going to take Kentucky over UCLA this time around.
Are you?
And I'm going to take UNC. UNC got 2 juniors, 2 seniors. Leadership matters in games like this. And I like them. And I know they didn't finish. Joel Berry got in trouble. I believe that's the only reason Duke beat them because they had an 8-point lead when he got in trouble, and Coach Roy might have left him on the bench a little bit too long because once they mounted that run, they had gotten the momentum and they could never get it back. So I like North Carolina to beat Kentucky to advance to the Final Four. Let's go to the Midwest. Why do they keep putting Kansas in the Midwest? They don't even have to drive anywhere. They just get in their car and just go to the Kemper. What is it, Kemper Arena?
They earned it. They earned it. Come on.
Earn it. They did, Skip, because I believe if they play TCU another 100 times, they'll beat them 100 times.
Well, with Josh Jackson.
Exactly. Louisville at the bottom. Louisville has been really inconsistent. I think they might have the weakest. They got the easiest chance to get to the Final Four because they got Louisville. And you look at their bracket, Michigan. Now, Michigan's been a great story, Skip. You know, they had the plane wreck, and thankfully no one was injured. They played the first couple of games in their practice uniforms, and how they go from the bottom dweller, and win the Big Ten, which has never been done from somebody in that position. It's a great story. But I think Kansas has too much firepower. I think they advance. Let's go to the West. Gonzaga, 32-1. Skip, I've seen this story. They lose 1, 2, maybe 3 games every year and get picked off Sweet 16 or Elite 8. I think the same thing happens again. I love Arizona. Arizona's coming into their own. They've been dealing lately, and to beat UCLA, who has been playing as well as anybody in the country, beat them by double figures. I got Arizona coming out of the West. And the East, man, it's hard to pick against Kentucky. I mean, not Kentucky, but Duke.
Yep.
Coach K every time, man. I can't stand Duke. I love Coach K, but I can't stand Duke. Ever since they had, first time I watched Duke play.
Christian Laettner?
No. This one had Johnny Dawkins and Tommy Amaker. Ain't like a way back then.
Jay Billis.
Yes. But them jokers are playing well. But you know what? I'm going with the champs. Villanova, Josh Hart, he's for real. They can defend, they can hit big shots, and they play basically from top to bottom, from the start of the season to where we are now. They've been the best. They've been the most consistent team. Yeah, they haven't spent the whole year at number 1. But when you look at their body of work and you look at what they've done, they've been the best all year. And I believe, you know what? I believe Duke's Cinderella run, and they're playing well. They're playing the best. But I got Villanova, Arizona, Kansas, and UNC. I got all the blue bloods.
Okay, we got the Final Fours.
I got the blue bloods.
All right.
I want to know now, Skip, who goes all the way?
National semifinal. I got Duke over Arizona. Other semifinal. This is a tough one for me. It's a very close call. I'm going to go UCLA over Kansas.
Wow.
National final, Duke versus UCLA. I'll watch that. I got Lonzo Ball's out. I'm going with Lonzo Ball. I've got Lonzo backing up his father.
Wow.
We had LeVar on the show the other day, and I must admit, maybe I was just won over by LeVar. I told you that. And I just love this kid's game, and I think UCLA basically took the Pac-12 tournament off. They weren't focused. Steve Alford said so after the game, that they didn't play as hard as they played during the regular season. I think they're about ready to go on a roll, and nobody can score the basketball better than UCLA. So I'll go UCLA over Duke to win it all.
I got Villanova to beat Arizona. I got UNC to beat Kansas. Rematch. Villanova, UNC.
Huh.
And
This time? Really?
Coach Roy gets number 3.
Coach Roy gets it.
Coach Roy.
I have not loved that team all year long. I just haven't loved them.
I think Roy can do a better job in certain spots.
Yep.
But Skip, when you have your top 4 scorers are juniors and seniors, that means something. These guys have been there. Now, they lost the national championship game last year on a great shot.
Did they?
You know, guy made a great shot to even tie the game. Guy made an even better shot to win the game. But I just think this year, they can bang the boards. Joel Bear stays out of foul trouble. They go all the way.
I agree with that final, but I think Villanova. I think we might have a
Really?
repeat. And that would be the first, well, it's happened before, but Florida, 2006, 2007. So I'm kind of with you. I'm going Villanova.
No mercy.
Well, the Super Bowl champion Patriots traded for Saints wide receiver Brandon Cooks. Over the weekend, New England gave up a first and a third-round draft pick. Cooks is one of 3 players with at least 75 receptions, 1,000 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns in each of the past 2 seasons. And we are now joined by Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. Greg, thank you for joining us.
Title, that's impressive.
Pretty
Now
impressive.
can you back it up?
I'd have to say.
I have to with you two.
Always something. So the Patriots made a lot of moves, right, in the offseason. Are they by far and away the best in the AFC right now, Greg?
Yes. No,
Easy.
there's no question about it. When you come off a season, you're 14-2, you lose 2 games, one of them being without your quarterback, your guy in Tom Brady, and then you add these pieces. When I look at this team, they can lose anyone, and it never seems to impact their team moving forward.
Right.
we make a big deal about when teams can't hold on to their marquee guys or guys that make a huge impact in them winning or losing ball games. This is the one team that you can't say that with. And with them acquiring Cooks that, in my opinion, is one of the better young receivers in this game that we don't really talk about often because he's down in New Orleans and they haven't been on the radar as far as games on television and us being able to see him play. He adds another element to this team that is, quite frankly, not even needed. But he's so explosive. He does things. He can stretch the field. I wonder, does anybody even have a chance in the AFC with this team? And I know Shannon, you know this. Games have to be played every Sunday.
Yep.
But when you have Belichick and you have Brady, and now you add it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if they're trying to go 16-0 and then run the table again this year.
The thing was, for me, even if they had made no moves, they were still the best team in the AFC because basically they were bringing all their pieces back with Tom Brady. So as long as you got Tom Brady, at worst case scenario, you're going to be number 2. But this is what I don't understand. The Patriots just won a title, but apparently Tom Brady needs help. He must not want to compete. Now, wait a minute. Because this is how Skip Bayless looks at it. He sees a lady side the road, the hood up of a car. She doesn't need any help because she's not firing off flares in the middle of the road flagging me down. Wait a minute.
Stop it.
No, you don't, Skip. No, this is y'all will give you your chance. Yeah. Now, LeBron James says, I need a backup point guard. I need a big. And a lot of people lost their mind and say, well, he want everybody. He doesn't want to compete. They go out and get a Brandon Cooks, as you mentioned, they don't need. They go out and get a Dwayne Allen, which they don't need. Well, maybe they need him because they lost Martellus Bennett. They add these pieces to a guy that just won the Super Bowl, but he had guys that can't play, Julian Edelman, Amendola, Malcolm Mitchell, Michael Floyd, who didn't even dress white. These guys are nobodies. And Coach Belichick goes out and get a Brandon Cooks. He goes and gets an Allen. Does Tom Brady want all the players? Does he not want to compete?
Is it my turn?
No, it ain't your turn yet. No.
Tell me when.
No, I'm going to let you go.
Tell me when I get to go.
The thing about the Patriots is that they got a value. You get to play for them at their price because Tom Brady has really always accepted less than market value. So how can someone else, no matter who you are, what you've accomplished, get market value when we've never paid it to him? Now, they keep tearing his contracts up, giving him $25 million to sign and one-year deal for his base salary is $1 million. But the way they do it, the way they built their ball club, you have to just admire them because they're going to put themselves in positions. And as long as you got Tom Brady, see, everybody's like, well, you see the Patriots, as long as you got this guy, you don't have to go plunge into free agency. But there will be a time, it's going to be very interesting to see when they no longer have this young man, he's going to be an old man, he's about to be 40, how they handle free agency moving forward once he's no longer in uniform.
My turn?
It's your turn.
Let me ask you, Shannon Sharpe, do you remember any interview during Super Bowl week? We were actually there in Houston. Do you remember any interview that Tom Brady did in which he went LeBron James and said, I don't have enough help. I don't have any Julio. I don't have a Sanu. I don't have a Taylor Gabriel. I just got little Danny and I got little Julian.
That's why
I got Chris Hogan. Do you remember him saying that? Did he ever say that one time during Super Bowl? Not one time.
You see what he did? It's just like the lady. The lady wasn't in the middle of the road. She wasn't flagging him down. She wasn't flying off flares, so she didn't need help.
I have a better question. The night after Tom Brady managed to come back from 28-3, throwing it to Edelman and Amendola and Chris Hogan, did he sit down in front of his locker and dip his head and say, I just hope they get me some help next year because I can't go through another year like this.
LeBron,
this is so hard on me. He didn't say a word about that because he does not care. He would have gone to battle with exactly what he had last year because he always goes to battle with that.
So what did Coach Belichick do?
Coach Belichick has played this offseason like he's trying to win his first Super Bowl instead of his sixth back-to-back. I've never seen anything like it before. Does Tom Brady have any input into this? Absolutely none. But all of a sudden, for the first time since 2007, for the first time in 10 years, Tom Brady actually has a home run threat that he can throw to. He hasn't had anything like this since Randy Moss. And what happened in 2007? They broke every record. They should have gone, what would it be, 19-0 that year, and maybe we're looking at 16-0 this time. It's starting to shape up that way because the AFC's just over. Everybody else is playing for the right to lose at Foxborough in the AFC Championship game.
The only thing that concerns me, Greg, is that the bulk of Cook's touchdown has come in a controlled environment. They come in the Dome. They come in Atlanta. He hasn't played a whole lot of cold weather games, playing in Tampa, playing in Carolina, playing indoors. Now, this is what we know. Come late October, going forward, it's going to be cold. You play the Jets. You play Buffalo. Outside, it's going to be cold.
So those games, you throw it to Edelman, you throw it to Gronk. But I think Gronk's going to be back.
I think, I mean, that plays a role, but I don't think it changed him as a player. This is what's impressive to me. I think, and I truly believe, Belichick understands what he has in Tom Brady. He understands that, you know what, before he starts to dwindle, I'm going to put pieces around him and add value around him to where he doesn't have to do as much as we have needed him to do in times past, which is brilliant. He's always a forward thinker. He's always out in front of the 8-ball and not ever behind the 8-ball, and teams are always trying to catch up. This is why this team is talked about every year in late January, early February, because the decisions that are made moving up until the season and the decisions that are made during the season, whether it be off the field, on the field, in-game adjustments, he is the best at doing it. This is why this team is such a threat.
And furthermore, Stephon Gilmore was once the 10th pick in the draft, and Belichick has gotten to see him 8 times over the last 5 years in Buffalo, so he knows what he just bought. And he bought it cost $40 million guaranteed dollars.
Butler, though.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Because
that's what they said.
Because see, what Butler's doing says, because Butler's like, hold on, wait a minute. Did Gilmore pick that pass off in Super Bowl 49? Did Gilmore go to the Pro Bowl last year? I'm trying to figure out, and you give him $40 million, and you offer me $20 million guaranteed. And that's the problem that a lot of players have with the teams, because they'll go out and pay a guy that's done nothing for this ball club. And the guy that's been there for 3, 5, 6 years, they try to feed him peanuts.
Okay.
And so.
But what was Malcolm Butler originally? An undrafted free agent from West Alabama. This is the 10th pick in the Belichick saying, I'm going to upgrade a little bit with a bigger.
Who's better? If I give you a choice, I'll take Malcolm Butler over Gilmore.
I love how he competes.
You know what? I like Gilmore now. Yeah. He's a big guy. He can defend. He has great hips. I like what they did with adding him. He's a bigger defender. They got to go against bigger receivers. We've seen it when it comes to what they do. Malcolm Butler doesn't make or break this defense.
No, because they're a big covered, they're a big 22 team. They're big, they don't single up. If they single somebody, they'll give him help and then they'll play coverage to the backside. So they don't need a key to lead. They don't need a guy that can go shut down because that's not how they play.
Yep.
They're not gonna give you the big play. They're gonna make you nickel and dime your way down the field, and they feel they'll make you make a mistake before you get the ball into the end zone.
What they also needed was somebody who could do what Chandler Jones used to do, and Coney Ely can fly around that corner. I like it.
I thought coming off the Super Bowl, because he had one of the all-time great Super Bowls.
Huge.
But I thought I would see more. I didn't see enough of that last year. I mean, he flashed again in the first game of the season against the Broncos. But Skip, for them to give up on this young man that quick, that kind of tells you
we talk about Brandon Cooks. Dwayne Allen may be the best signing that they have.
He might be. I agree.
If he can stay healthy.
And he can block and he can catch.
Absolutely.
And finally, the reports are, the indications are that Dante Hightower is going to remain with New England. And if that happens, it's way over.
Well, you knew it was going to happen, Skip, because first of all, nobody was going to pay him that kind of money because they don't view him like a Luke Kuechly. They don't view him like a Wagner. He's a guy that can stop the run, and he's a great rush. But nobody puts their Mike Backer on the edge like they did in the Super Bowl. So What are we gonna do? Why are we gonna pay you $10, $11 million?
He's the captain though.
He's more valuable. He's more valuable in New England than anybody else. Yes.
I don't think we're betting against the Patriots. That's just a safer way.
Well,
to go.
he
At
might.
least for me. I mean, you can stay that way, but I'm not right now.
He's lost some money back.
If the Broncos don't bother Tony Romo, we got him.
No mercy.
The war of words between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor continues to rage on. Now, Mayweather is up the ante on a possible fight between the two stars. Let's take a listen to what he's now saying.
I'm coming out of retirement just to fight Conor McGregor. I don't want to hear no more excuses about the money, about the UFC. Sign the paper with the UFC so you can fight me in June. Simple and plain. Let's fight in June. You're the B side. I'm the A side. We're not here to cry about money. I'm tired of all this crying about money and talking about you want to fight. You blowing smoke up everybody. If you want to fight, sign the paperwork. Let's do it.
Boy, we continue to talk about will the fight happen, will it not happen. Skip, do you believe Floyd?
Oh, please. No way do I believe a word that just came out of that
You're a
man's
hater.
mouth. I'm not a hater. I'm a truth teller. This was classic Floyd huffing and puffing and daring Conor McGregor to fight in June when Floyd full well knows that there is no way that Conor McGregor is going to take the insulting offer that Floyd has put on the table. And there's next to no way that this fight could happen by June.
Why?
It's too much red tape. I mean, we got to negotiate first. He hasn't started negotiating.
Whoa, Conor's his own man.
Huh?
Conor's his own man.
Yeah.
When I was a kid growing
Come
up.
to the negotiating table first. That's what's got to happen
See,
first.
I used to have to ask my grandmother, could I go out and play? Some other kids just come outside and start playing. See, that's Floyd. Floyd ain't got to ask nobody, can he fight?
Oh.
Conor McGregor got to ask.
Well,
Dana White.
then did you hear the baloney he was spewing after that? He went right back into us. I'm the A side.
Hey.
No, he is not. He is a 40-year-old washed-up old man
Five-time
fighter.
champ.
Yeah, he has not fought a real fight in 2.5 years. Conor McGregor is the bigger global draw by far. He is the A-plus side in this fight, and there is no way that Floyd is going to risk 49-0 against the baddest man on the planet who's an MMA fighter. He's not going to do it.
First of
you
all,
know, it's just jab and run for Floyd.
Once he fights this Irish can of Guinness, this pint, he still will not have fought in 2.5 years because he's going to beat the brakes off Conor McGregor. But just in case, Floyd said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and get the MGM. I'm going to get the T-Mobile Center just in case Dana White lets you come outside and play for just a second.
Fight for pennies that I put on the table?
Skip.
Come on.
You fight for pennies?
How stupid do you think Conor McGregor
Skip.
is? What kind of fool do you think he is?
He fight for pennies
Hey,
in
this
the
is
UFC.
50-50 at the least. At the least, it's got to be, it should be 60-40 Conor on the split.
50-50 what?
Split
Listen.
of the purse and the pay-per-view. Come on.
Listen. When Floyd and I come in the ring against this pint of Guinness, which is Conor McGregor.
The pint is like a pint bigger than Floyd is, right? Am I right about that?
When Floyd and I come into the ring, we come in first.
You're bringing him, you're going to carry Floyd into the ring?
You're
going to have to carry him out.
You and Conor come in second. Okay?
Yeah.
We decide what time of night we're going to fight.
I don't need to be in the entourage. I'll just be watching in the front row. I'll be in the splatter zone because somebody's blood is going to get
I'm the
spilled.
hype man.
Yeah.
Okay.
The greatest butt kicker of all time. Five-time division champ.
Floyd? Whose butt has he ever kicked?
The man 49-0.
What's it been?
How you get to be 49-0?
He hasn't knocked anybody out since 1999. Go look it up.
Guess what?
1999 was his last knockout?
Okay, so he due for one in 17 years. He'd be the greatest. Hey, one knockout every 17 years. That's pretty good.
Yeah, boy, that's
as
great.
long as he knocked this bum out.
He's run a lot of marathons. He's won lots of marathons.
Skip.
I give you
Let
that.
Conor stay in his lane. Conor is a great MMA fighter, but you've heard De La Hoya, you've heard Canelo, you've heard every legit boxer say he has no chance.
I heard Nate Diaz give him a good chance if he went right at Floyd in the first 3 rounds. And that's exactly what would happen.
That's why Floyd slid him a couple.
You can run, Floyd, but you cannot hide.
Floyd slid Nate a couple
Yeah.
of dollars. Say,
Yeah.
hey, Floyd,
Oh, did he?
I need you to
Yeah.
sell this thing.
I'll bet.
Because remember he called. You remember he
After
called.
they nearly killed each other
Hey,
in the last
remember
fight?
he called Nate.
Uh-huh.
And what did he say about Conor? And Conor got upset when he had his little interview talking about Nate Diaz is a B because he co-signed Floyd. You heard it, but don't worry about it. Your day coming. Your day coming too.
The payday is coming for Conor McGregor, or there's going to be no fight.
Listen,
You can't make this for free.
A side,
Yeah.
B side. Skip. That's what happened.
You know what would be funny? If Conor called Floyd today and said, okay, I'll take your insulting offer. Floyd would be like, wait a second.
No.
We gotta work this out, man.
Skip. It ain't nothing wrong with being the B side.
You know what Floyd's like? He's like the guy in the NBA fight who goes like this, and they have to pull him back, because he really didn't want to fight anybody on this one.
Man, when Floyd put them hands on him, see, it's not the punches you see that hurts.
Oh.
It's the ones you don't see.
Those little powder puff punches, they don't hurt anybody.
Hey.
Gnat on the windshield. Conor McGregor,
And guess, you know what, Skip?
He's a bare-fisted fighter. Come on, I mean, it's like bare knuckle in UFC.
You ever had a gnat fly in your eye? What you do? Like, I got something on my eye. And that's what Floyd. That's Floyd. That right hook.
Floyd's a gnat, all right.
That
I'll
right
give you
hook.
that.
Huh.
Where is he? Where is that gnat? Oh, he flew over in the corner.
June.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be right my birthday. I got a birthday in June.
Do you?
But he's still 40 years old. I know we're not making a lot of the age, but 28, 40, June.
Yeah.
How long does this go, though?
But Floyd understands that if this fight if Conor were to fight, that means he's not going to fight anymore this year, so he can't fight Floyd. Floyd also knows what happens if he fights and loses. The luster's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's never gonna be this high. So Conor, let Floyd go ahead and kick you. Hey, this is what you do. This is how you handle it, Conor. Say, Floyd, tell him to bring you one of them Himalayan Hermes bags. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know.
See, you know what I'm saying, JD? No, bring him one of them Hermes bags with about 100,000 racks.
All right, do the math for me.
No, we'll worry about that.
Do the math.
A rack is 10,000. Bring him 100,000. Bring him 100,000 racks and show up in June at the T-Mobile Center at the MGM.
Yeah, I'd like to see him just fight in an alley. Just
No,
just
man,
the
ain't
two
nobody-
of them. Come on.
Alley.
That's what
Why would I want to fight when I can get paid?
Huh? Well, it's just
Lot
for
on the
pride.
line.
Yeah.
No, I ain't no pride. I ain't got that kind of pride. My pride costs.
No mercy.
ESPN's Adam Schefter is reporting the Cowboys are not expected to trade Tony Romo. Reports say the Texans and Broncos are interested in Romo, but are not willing to trade for him. Last week, there was speculation that Romo would be traded and not released. Romo has reportedly met twice with Jerry Jones this offseason to discuss his future. There are so many layers to this, but Skip, what is going on here?
This is getting more interesting by the minute and more scary and scary for me by the minute because,
Hold him, Jerry.
as you know, I wanted Tony Romo gone by the midseason trade deadline.
You did.
Thank you. I was highly amused by the breathless reports that the Cowboys aren't expected to trade Tony Romo. I believe that was on Friday. Duh. Guess why? Because the reporters checked with Denver. John Elway said, no way am I going to give a draft pick. Checked with Houston. No way are we going to give a draft pick. And Jerry Jones said, well, guess what? Watch this. I'll just dig in. Jerry just got his pride sideways. He just got his back up. And no way were those teams going to immediately acquiesce to Jerry saying, we're going to trade him. And suddenly kowtow and say, okay, Jerry, here's a third-round pick. So as you correctly pointed out on Friday, this is a game of stare down. This is a game of who blinks first, right?
Yep.
This is a game of chicken to me, and Jerry's a tough competitor when it comes to the game of chicken because this is the famous or infamous quote that I think he first uttered to me when I did my first Cowboy book. I have a high tolerance for ambiguity, says Jerry Jones, meaning I'm not afraid of the unknown or the unpredictable. I know when to hold my cards, and I can hold them for a long time because nothing bothers me. And all of a sudden, there's no urgency. There's no deadline. He can keep Tony Romo on his roster, heck, into the preseason, right? A couple of preseason games to see who folds first. Could it be Denver? Could it be Houston? Could it be another team that will get desperate enough to offer a player or maybe even more than a third-round pick? And my contention is, this is just me from a distance. Nobody told me this. This is just my read of the situation, and I think I have a pretty good read on Jerry Jones. I believe that, ironically, one man has further ticked off Jerry Jones. Guess who that man is? Tony Romo. Romo's people clearly leaked the fact last Wednesday Tony Romo will be released. Remember those breathless reports? Didn't happen, did it?
Nope.
Because that came from the wrong place. They didn't come from Jerry Jones. That came from Tony's people. And then what happened on Thursday? Tony Romo posted his Goodbye Cowboy Nation on Instagram, his new favorite social media tool. Am I right?
Playing this. What's the name of that song he was playing in the background, Skip?
The times they are a-changin', right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Bob Dylan. You don't know that one. And I told you the times they aren't a-changing because Jerry Jones, I'm just going to guess, was not real pleased with that because you're pushing Jerry into the corner to go ahead and release you ahead of the 4 p.m. Thursday deadline that would have allowed Jerry to have an extra $5 million in cap space. But it's clear to me now, Cowboys are going to make no free agent splashes. That was not their design, not their grand plan. Nope. They're going to add some little cogs that could be nice pieces.
Re-sign Terrence Williams.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet, actually. I didn't see that one coming, and I assume Terrence stayed home. He's from Dallas, obviously. No state income tax. Yep. And I assume he wants to win a ring. So way to go, Terrence Williams.
You get married offseason?
I don't know for sure. You keep up with that pop culture
well,
stuff.
I
just follow football.
That's the only ring he's going to get.
Yeah,
a wedding band. He ain't getting no.
Well, how about next year?
Nope.
I think they're the favorite. I think they're right. They're the favorite to win the NFC next year for sure.
But you've already said that if they get rid of Tony Romo, book it. They're going to win Super Bowl 52 against your New England Patriots.
All right, so now we're down to the do-right rule, Jerry's do-right rule. If he's going to do right by Tony Romo, he should release him today and let him go talk to Denver or Houston, make a deal, right?
Is he doing right by Tony?
I think we're back to do right by Jerry more than do right by Tony because I think he's going to hold out for a while, maybe a long while, to get him some compensation for Tony Romo.
Skip, nobody thought they could trade Tony Romo but Jerry. That was the only person. And I guess
Eric Mangini on our show, right?
And I guess that's really the only person that matters. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
It doesn't
only
matter.
matters what Jerry thinks.
Yep.
What happened was Jerry saw that the Houston Texans were able to trade Brock Osweiler and that horrible contract. He's like, well, hold on. My guy is better than him.
Sure.
But the team is saying, okay, we'll take Tony in that contract. Give us a draft pick. Jerry's not going to give up a draft pick for Tony Romo to get him off his books. Skip, let me ask you this. Where can Tony Romo go? And he'll have a better situation than what he had in 2014 when he had an 1,848-yard rusher. He had a receiver that had 16 receiving touchdowns, led the league in touchdown catches. He had Jason Witten, who was a Pro Bowl receiver, and he had 3 All-Pro linemen. Tell me the situation where he can go that would be better than that.
I think Denver could be equal to that. You disagree?
Did you see the offensive line they had? Denver's offensive line?
They just shorted up. Huh?
Who's the left tackle? Ron Leary can't block everybody.
He's pretty good, though.
Yeah,
he played 12 games last year for Dallas, and he's pretty good.
He's a very good.
Yeah.
But he can only block one player. Okay, where's the 1,848-yard rusher at, though?
I don't know, C.J. Anderson, if he's healthy, he's decent.
He's too violent. See, I don't like to brace things on if. If C.J. stays healthy, if Romo stays healthy. But here's the thing.
Well, wait a second. You didn't mention, did Dallas have Denver's defense in 2014?
No. But if you got that guy that can play. When is Peyton Manning, with the exception of last year won the Super Bowl, had a great defense? He was getting to the playoffs every year. He was winning games, getting Super Bowls every year with a defense that wasn't Denver-esque.
Yeah, he
Look at Aaron
won
Rodgers.
one and lost one.
Look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, when has he ever had a historically great defense? Never, ever.
I don't know. That won the first Super. I thought it was pretty good. Clay Matthews was rolling that year.
But here's the thing, Skip. Everybody keeps saying Tony Romo is Peyton Manning 2.0. First of all, they're not starting off with the same resumes. You look at Peyton, what he was able to accomplish at Indy.
No doubt.
And then you look at Tony Romo, what he's able to accomplish in Dallas. You look at Kurt Warner, what he was able to do in St. Louis, what he was able to do for the Cardinals. Take Brett Favre. So you're starting at a place that's this is what I can't understand, and it baffles me. And I sit in my apartment because I have a lot of time. I'm out here alone for the time being. I'm like, what makes people think that Tony Romo can do something in 2017 for another team that he has yet to be able to do for the Dallas Cowboys, which is to take them to and win a Super Bowl and stay healthy. Is it going to be the water? Is he going to do something different as far as training? Is he going to do something as far as getting new people in his camp to work with him? What makes you think he can do that, Skip? And here's the problem. If you keep Tony on the Romo, you can't play him in the preseason because guess what, Skip? One hit. And guess what you got on your hands? You got a $19 million jalopy. You can't drive it, and nobody definitely won't take it off your hand. Because see, Skip, this is the way I look at it. You got a car. I don't have a car right now. And I need a car. I need to get to it.
I thought you had a car.
I do.
And by the way, Ernestine and I would take you to the movies anytime you want to go. If you're just sitting at home on Saturday night thinking about Tony Romo, that's scary.
No.
That's not healthy.
How am I going to fit in the back of a vet?
Huh?
How am I going to fit in the back of the vet?
Ernestine's got a car.
Okay.
You'd fit in the front seat of that one.
Okay, but check this out, Skip. You got a car. Now, I need to get around. I don't have a car right now, but I need one. Now, I know you just bought 2 new cars, so I know you're going to get rid of the old one, Jenny. See, follow me here, Jenny. I know you're going to get rid of that car. But see, what you're trying to do, you're trying to stick me because you know I need one. So you're trying to overcharge me for the price of the car. You was like, well, Shannon, hey, you can take this car here. I said, what you want for it, Skip? Nah, I ain't going to be able to do that, Skip. But he's like, well, Shannon, how you going to get to? I say, I'll continue to ride the bus or I do the same mode of transportation.
You've never ridden the bus. You don't ride the bus. I'm sorry.
I have
I'm not buying that.
I used to ride the bus to go see my brother at South Carolina.
Did you really?
I did, rode Greyhound. Stop, Skip. I never knew. They were stopping in people's yard, picking people up, dropping them off at their house like a school bus. I was like, huh? I did it twice. But Skip, why would somebody trade for Tony Romo in $19 million when in the last 3 hits, he's needed assistance to get off the field? Why would somebody trade that for Tony Romo?
Because every once in a while, you get lucky when you buy a used car, and for reasons nobody can explain, it goes another 50,000 miles. And you can't, who can predict when a car will break down, right?
Anytime somebody get rid of a used car, what is that telling you? They got tired of it. They wanted something else.
Okay, but in 2014, Dallas almost hit the lottery with Tony Romo.
It's 2017, Skip.
Okay, but he hasn't played for the last 2 years, so you can argue that he's revitalized, that his body is fresh now, that he hasn't taken except 1 shot in Seattle, right?
Okay, he took 1 shot in Seattle,
yeah,
and boom. He took 1 shot in Philly, boom. 1 shot in Carolina, boom. I mean, you keep telling me 1 shot, so that I only named 3, and guess what, Skip? They had to come get him. They had to stop play, and they had to come get him.
Should Jerry Jones be in the business of helping Denver or Houston win a Super Bowl this coming year?
He should be in the business of helping himself because all Tony Romo is going to do is keep creating a distraction that they're going to have to ask the players about week in and week out.
I agree.
And you get tired of answering those same questions. If Tony going to play, what's going to happen with Tony? If Dak struggles, will you be tempted to put Tony Romo in? Answer those questions.
Okay, but hypothetically, would you agree Tony Romo is worth a 4th-round pick? I would say yes.
No.
For what you could get out of him, he's worth. Who cares about a 4th-round pick? Everybody it's like they're gold, and people blow 4th-round picks right and left. Probably this year in the 4th round, there'll be, 15 swings and misses. Watch. Just
worth is only what someone's willing to pay. Right now, no one is willing to pay anything for Tony
right
Romo.
now. Okay. Wait until we get closer.
Just hold on to him because you and I both know what's going to happen. Put him in the preseason, and he'll be a $19 million jalopy on Dallas's payroll. And everybody's going to say, how could Jerry do such a dumb thing? He could have moved on, had $19 million off his book. He could have got $5 million in cap space to get a corner. Go get a defensive lineman. Because, Skip, how have they improved their team? Now, unless they get a bona fide, a surefire hellraiser in the first round at defensive line or corner,
they might.
How have they improved?
They might. Hey, they signed Nolan Carroll. You got to give them that.
A Christmas Carol?
Yeah.
Did you see what he gave up the game with a touchdown last?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, and you want that now?
DeMontre Moore.
Skip. He got upset about headphones. Got in a fight at the Giants about headphones, Skip, because he didn't get a pair.
That's all I got. I got T-Will, but that's all.
Hold on. If you ever call that man T-Will again, his name is Terrence Williams. When you catch only 3 touchdown passes in a season, you do not get a nickname.
Where there is a T-Will, there is a way, and he can get behind people. He just wasn't needed this year. Next year he might
He's
be needed.
50-50. He'll get behind you. There's 50% chance he catch it.
Yeah.
50% chance he drops it. So what day will it be?
He caught one in the opener and failed to get out of bounds, but I'm going to let that go right now.
Yeah, I bet you are going. No, you're not going to let it go. you held it against him. All he had to do was get out of bounds.
No mercy.
This is the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast. We are delivering you an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the biggest topics of the day's show. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud, and you can check it out on YouTube. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Undisputed on FS1. We're also on Twitter at Undisputed. Catch us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. Channel 219 on DirecTV, 150 on Dish. Always fun here at Undisputed. This is Jenny Taft. Come back for more Undisputed Tuesday when we're joined by rap legend Jadakiss. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Fox Sports, one of one.